Hey guys, so I'm finally doing my labor and delivery story. This is a very last minute video. I don't have any notes or anything written down, so I might mess up a little bit, not remember things correctly right away, so bear with me. I just put the baby to sleep. He's been so fussy lately. He must be going through a growth spurt because he's just so tired and wants to sleep all the time, but he can't get himself to fall asleep. He's so distracted, and he now can literally feel when I put him down on the crib from sleeping on my chest, or setting him down somewhere, and he'll wake up immediately and just throw a fit because he wants me to hold him 24/7. He wants to be on the boob 24/7. So anyways, this video might be split up into two, by the way. I'm recording from my iPad. It's just a lot quicker, and I really don't have time to edit. But anyways, Liam was not born on his due date. If you've been watching my videos, his due date was July 12th, and I didn't deliver him until July 18th. We gave him a week, pretty much, to come on his own, and I didn't go into labor, so when I went in on the 18th, I went ahead and went in for my scheduled induction because I had actually scheduled it ahead of time. And my doctor's office is actually located at the hospital, so he's just on a different floor. And what else? Originally, the plan was for me to be on Cervidil, which was to dilate me overnight. I was checked in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon-ish, and I wasn't scheduled to start Cervidil until 8, but they went ahead and told me that the doctor changed his mind because he believed that if he put me to dilate, that I would go into labor pretty much that night, and we both really wanted him to be the one to deliver me, and he was not the doctor on call that night. It was someone else. So he decided to go ahead and just start me on Pitocin right away instead of Cervidil and then Pitocin, and he was going to start me on pretty much the lowest dose possible, and on an extremely slow drip. And pretty much they again gave me from 5 o'clock when I checked in all the way until, I believe it was midnight, or I think it was midnight, to go into labor on my own, and I wasn't. So they went ahead and started me on the Pitocin at that time, and that would make it 12 a.m. July 18th. When I had, the night before I was scheduled, actually 2 days before I was scheduled for induction, I was actually already 1 centimeter dilated, 1 to 2 centimeters dilated, and that was a big progress from the previous week when we had scheduled the induction, because I was not dilated at all, and I believe she said I was 60 to 70% effaced. That was 2 days before my induction. And then when I got to the hospital on the 17th in the afternoon for my scheduled induction, I was 2 to 3 centimeters dilated and about 80% effaced. So my body was starting to progress on its own, but they really needed to get the baby out. They thought he was going to be a really big baby. And I don't know, I had that motherly instinct that I needed to get him out, and which is weird because I was telling my doula, from the beginning, I really wanted things to go natural. I didn't want to be induced. I didn't want to have Pitocin or any drugs besides an epidural shall I need it, which I kind of knew I was. And I definitely wanted to avoid a C-section. But again, I had a motherly instinct, I needed to get this baby out. My mom had the same feeling, and she actually had a feeling that I should go directly for a C-section. And, of course I got upset because she started, trying to push it on me. I have this feeling you should go for a C-section. Made me really upset because I didn't see a reason why there was no reason to go for a C-section. And, but my mom, I hate to say this, but she's always right when it comes to these feelings, and I tend to have good feelings too. So anyways, I was like, no, I'm going to try the vaginal birth first. And so nothing was happening for about, I honestly can't remember how long it went before I started feeling contractions, but it wasn't that long after. I want to say it was within 2 hours. I was already like, give me an epidural. So within those 2 hours, the anesthesiologist came. I was in excruciating pain. I'm telling you, it went from nothing to 100 in the matter of an hour or two. So by the time the anesthesiologist got there, the pain was already horrible. And I wasn't even that dilated. I was like maybe 3, not even 4 yet. And bad thing was, he couldn't get the epidural right. It took him 30 minutes to do my epidural. And what was supposed to be a quick prick of pain was quite a few pricks and a lot of pain, because he kept poking me, trying, like, going like that to my nerve or whatever the heck he was hitting in several areas. And I could feel him doing everything, going like that in my spine. And I was just jumping. I was just like literally going like that every time. And they were telling me, you have to stay still. And I'm like, well, I'm trying, but it's my body's normal reflex when you hit a nerve like that to just jump. So finally, after 30 minutes, he got it in, but I had this feeling like he did not do it right. And then I overheard a nurse tell me, well, he took 30 minutes with the lady next door as well. So that right there told me this guy really doesn't know what he's doing. Needless to say, the pain relief lasted for maybe a half hour at the absolute max, and I might be even exaggerating here. And then I started back to excruciating pain, and the pain just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I only felt a little bit of numbing on my legs, but I still felt all the pressure and all the pain. And long story short, the epidural never worked. Because of my screaming and excruciating pain, the new anesthesiologist was coming in and just pretty much bombarding me with all the pain medication that they could put through my IV that wasn't epidural, because clicking the epidural for more drip, or it just wasn't working. And I kept saying, this isn't working, what are you guys doing? Even all of the pain medication they were putting in my IV, that worked only a little bit, and it worked for so little amount of time, and then I was just screaming again in agony. And the contractions were just getting stronger and stronger, one on top of the other. And I was crying. I just couldn't believe the pain I was in. I just kept thinking to myself, I don't want to have a C-section. They're gonna figure out a pain dosage. Let me just stick it out. Well, my OB kept coming in and just telling them, we'll give her more pain medication. And they kept telling me, oh, you're going to feel some pain. You're going to feel some pressure. It's not supposed to take everything off, because you need to be able to push and feel stuff down there. But I kind of knew they were just BSing me. I watch YouTube vlogs all the time, and I know people who've had epidurals. An epidural really works. You are just happy after you have an epidural. So I think after over 24 hours of laboring and still in excruciating pain, I realized that the pain was not going to go away. And after being at 9 centimeters for over an hour, probably 2 hours, with not progressing any further, I finally said, I'm done trying this. Get me out of here. Get me into an OR. I want a C-section, and I need it, and I want it now. I cannot wait any longer. Do it now. And so the nurses, they I mean, I had my doula crying. She felt so bad for me. It was just super traumatic. And the nurses ran out of the room. They quickly informed the doctor. The doctor agreed. He knew I wasn't progressing. At that point, when I was 9 centimeters, I cannot tell you how much worse my shakes had gotten. I was shaking so bad, it was scaring me. And on top of that, I was running a huge fever of almost 103 because I had gotten a uterus infection. And it was caused by them checking me to see, for progression. Even though they use gloves, there's still a chance. The longer you're in labor, the higher the risk of an infection. And by the way, I forgot to mention, about halfway through everything, they had to stop the Pitocin because the baby wasn't tolerating it well. His heart rate went up to like 200 or something, I heard. And I didn't learn this until after I delivered, because nobody wanted to tell me that, obviously, because it would have freaked me out. But yeah, basically the kind of pressure that I felt at the point of 9 centimeters was the baby's head pushing against a bone or something. I felt like he was going to come out. I felt the need to push. And I felt the pressure of him coming through, but I was afraid to start pushing because I kept telling everyone, I'm not going to be able to handle the pain of this baby coming out. I'm already in too much pain. I feel like I'm going to pass out. And I hadn't had water in over 24 hours because they weren't allowing it. And because I was about to have a C-section, they even said I couldn't have ice chips. And all of a sudden, I got so thirsty. I've never been so thirsty in my life that the ice chips weren't cutting it. My doula and my boyfriend were sneaking ice chips while the nurses were running out of the room to prep for OR, because I was literally having a panic attack for water. And I wasn't nervous about the C-section. I didn't care about the scar anymore. I didn't care that I was having a C-section. I was excited. I wanted to get the baby out. I wanted to be done with the pain. It was more now of, I'm going to pass out of exhaustion. I'm not going to get to see my baby come out. I'm not going to get to see him be born because I'm going to pass out. I am super thirsty. I can't stop shaking. I'm freaking out. I have a fever. And needless to say, I couldn't enjoy anything, and I was scared. And everyone's prepped to wheel me to the OR. My boyfriend is dressed from head to toe in his little gown. And excuse me. And they wheel me out. And I will update on another video right after this one on the rest.